So the agenda for today, we're going to start off 1 and 2 talking about allocation and amortization schedules, how we can help automate that process, take away from those very manual journal entries at the end of the month by how we can use our reminders and kind of consolidate these as well. After we're done with allocations and amortizations, we'll take a look at bank reconciliation. So how we can use NetSuite and use matching rules to help automate the matching of your bank data with your NetSuite data, the transactions that you have within your ERP. And then when we're done with bank rec, we'll talk about the period close checklist. This is a really nice, easy to use tool that kind of lines out the different processes or tasks that need to take place in order to close the period within NetSuite. And then finally, we'll finish off by looking at a financial report and showing how we can do consolidated reporting inside of NetSuite's reporting tools. So let's go ahead and get started. So I am logged into NetSuite here. NetSuite is a role-based system. Today I'm going to be using the controller role. But just so you're aware, right, you can use different roles, and we have a lot of these pre-built for you out of the box on day one with that Suite Success business engagement model. So each one of these roles can have different dashboards associated with them, but most importantly, different roles and permissions as well. So if you want to have certain people doing some tasks for period close and certain people are only allowed to do other ones, then you can do that with the separation of duties by using roles and permissions. So once I'm in here, I can see that I have my controller dashboard. Lots of handy things out here. We call these portlets, so I can look at my portlets and see my tiles or drilling down to different financial reports. I have some really good navigations that I can do here to roll down to different setups or items, vendors, transactions, reports on the fly very quickly. And then KPIs or key performance indicators. So obviously I'm logged in as a controller. I'm looking at high-level financial metrics. What's my revenue, my payables, total bank balances, things of that nature. You can obviously configure or customize these reports, these trend graphs, however you want them to be. But this is a great example of a dashboard that's pre-built out of the box for you with using Suite Success. All right, so if I take my role as a controller, and we're going to go through some period close processes, the reminders portlet is a very handy tool for me. I can go in here and get automatically reminded of different month-end processes that have to take place. So if I have journal entries, that I need to approve, maybe I have allocation or amortization entries that are pending out there that I need to go through. So this is a perfect example of how I can automate and know what's still out there, what's remaining that I need to do before I can close my period. So let's start off with our allocation schedules. I'll drill in directly from my reminders portlet here. And this will remind me what schedules are out there that we still need to post. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the professional fees allocation schedule. And really, an allocation at the end of the day, we are just taking, an expense from one bucket and allocating it into other buckets. So in this case, if I look at my source tab, I can see that I'm taking my professional fees GL account, and I'm going to take that and I want to put it into a different destination or allocate it to a different destination. So in this case, I'm allocating it out by department. So I want to take that account, break it out by departments of administration, professional services, and products. And over here, you can see the weights of those that are associated as well. So these are in percentages here. So I'm going to take everything from my professional fees account, allocate 50% to my admin department, 30% to my professional services department, and 20% to my products department. So it's probably important to point out, this is what we would call a static allocation within NetSuite. You're also able to do what we call dynamic allocations. So let's say, for instance, you want to take your rent expense and you want to allocate that by square footage, or you want to do some kind of electric bill and break that out by head count. You can create those statistical accounts within NetSuite, and then the system will automatically allocate that expense based off of those statistical accounts. All right, so let's go ahead and create our journal entry here. Now the system's going to go out, look at all the expense that we have in that professional fees, and create that journal entry to allocate it out to the department. So here's a perfect example. I see that I had $2,000 in my expense account for professional fees, and then here in my department, it broke out, 1,000, 600, and 400 based off of those percentages that we had set in our allocation schedule. And now we can also send this off to be approved. In this case, I can be the approver, so I'll go ahead and approve this journal entry, and it is now a posting transaction. So that is officially posted to the GL, and will show up whenever we run any of our reports within NetSuite. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to open up a build to talk about amortization schedules. Once again, this could be amortization we saw when I first logged in, that I had a reminder on my reminders portlets that I have amortization schedules that I can run as well. So here's an example of a bill. I have my prepaid expense or prepaid insurance here as my expense. If I look over here, I have an amortization schedule tied directly to that. I can see my amortization start and end dates. And if I want to, I can drill down into that amortization schedule. So now I can see here, this is broken out, right? We have a template that pulls out my method of straight line by even periods and my amortization periods. So I have 12 of those. So I can see that I have the schedule broken out where I'm going to get notified for journal entries at the end of each period that we're going to take $100 out of that prepaid insurance and put it into my insurance expense. So take it out of that prepaid asset and move it into my expense account. So this will be nicely automated at the end of the period. So really the next step there is creating automated journal entries or amortization journal entries. And I can see here my posting period is in December of 2020. And what it's done is pulled in all of the different amortization schedules. So I have amortization schedule 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's pulling it in from all of those bills. In this case, they're all prepaid insurance. But what's great about this is I'm not going in and creating a manual journal entry for each one individually. Whenever I create my amortization journal entry, it's going to look at all of my outstanding amortization schedules and then allow me to create with one click of a button all of those journal entries in one fell swoop. So I'll go ahead and click create journal entries. And it went ahead and scheduled that. And I can see here, journal entry 288. It's pulled from all those different schedules, but I really just have one posting transaction. So I have one journal entry 288, and I was able to consolidate all of those amortization schedules really into a one-click journal entry to help automate that at the end of the day. All right, so now that I'm done with my allocations and amortizations and how I can automate those and speed up my life that way, I can also go in and speed up some of my processes for bank rec. So in this case, you might use our bank connectivity suite app where you can automatically connect your bank. You can do an import tool as well. Either way, your bank information gets brought into NetSuite automatically, and then you can go in and start doing the matching process. So I'm going to go in here, look at banking, go to match my bank data, and this will take me to my match bank data screen. So I'll select the cash account that I'm working with here. So in this case, it's my US checking account. And over here on the left-hand side, these are the transactions that pulled in from our bank account, right? So I have a checkout here, I have a deposit from our bank. And over here on the right-hand side, these are all transactions that took place inside of NetSuite, so inside of our ERP. So in this case, right, you can kind of manually go back and forth and match up. Anything that doesn't get automatically matched, you can do that. Or let's say, you know that you don't have a transaction for this deposit inside of NetSuite. I can easily create that on the fly as well. So down here, I guess if you wanted to exclude it, you can exclude it. But in this case, right, create a new journal entry, new charge, or new deposit. In this case, it's a deposit transaction. So I go ahead and create new deposit. I can go through and fill out the necessary fields, the dates, the amounts. We even have our accounting segment in here as well. So I can tie this directly to a specific department, class, or location and just really create that matching transaction right on the fly without ever having to leave my bank reconciliation page. So that really speeds things up and makes it really easy. Now, one of the ways we automate is being able to submit matches. So in this case, I can see that deposit 01 was automatically matched to a transaction that was already out there inside of NetSuite. So the goal here is that we can use matching rules to automate that as much as possible. So, you can view matching details. If for some reason you have to undo the match, you can, but it'll show you the match, the automated match from the bank on the left, the transaction from NetSuite on the right. And we can go in and take a look at how those reconciliation rules work. So in this case, we have these system rules that took place. In my instance, it's going and looking at transaction number and amount, or maybe without the prefixes or leading zeros, or maybe match it if the date's just within previous 90 days. But with most things inside of NetSuite, you are able to create rules on the fly, or really, user-defined rules. So I can go in here, create new rules, and really allow you to specify how do we want our bank data to automatically match with our data inside of NetSuite. After that, that's where you're going to go in and you can do your reconciliation of the account balance. So you can check your ending statement balance versus the match balances inside of NetSuite and finish that process off. But these rules can really help automate that process for you. All right, so finally, we want to go back in and take a look at our period close checklist. So I can see here on that reminders portlet, I'm back on my home page. I have periods that I need to close, so I can drill down into this. It'll take me to my accounting periods. And from here, we're really able to go in and go through a checklist. So if I click on my checklist, this lays it down. It's in sequential order, right? So you can see what's in green here is what I need to accomplish before I can go and unlock these other tasks that are below this. So I would need to lock AR and AP before I can go and revalue open currency balances or calculate consolidated exchange rates. So it's very easy to use. You can go in here and check what the statuses of these are, so I can see who's done what, who's modified it. So in this case, right, Ron Villanueva actually closed this period in January of 2019. But anyway, what it allows you to do is not only get that audit trail, but really help you lean on, okay, what do we need to do first? What do I need to do next? What do I need to do to get to my period close? In my days of doing consulting, this was always broken out. There would be a standard operating procedure written. It would get thrown in somebody's desk, and at the end of the month, it was very difficult for anybody to really know what to do. So NetSuite makes it really easy with this period close checklist. One thing I always like to point out too, for new users or anybody else, if I click on this help button directly from NetSuite, it will take me to the NetSuite Help Center, but it's not going to open up just a random PDF or just the help system in general. It's going to take you directly to the page that you're on inside of NetSuite. So in this case, right, it took me to the page of using that period close checklist. So I'm able to go through in here and learn how to do each individual task and drill in that way. But me, let's say as a user, I'm more of a visual person. I like to watch videos to learn things. We have what's called Suite Answers. And I always refer to Suite Answers as a help system on steroids. I can go in here and type in, period close and click enter. And I'm not only going to get help documentation. I can see existing support articles or support cases that are out there. I have 8 different training videos I can watch. There's 400 different help topics if I didn't get enough reading in the regular help center. And then to take it one step further, we even have 5 presentations from Suite World, which is NetSuite's big conference that they used to have in Vegas pre-COVID, but 5 videos you can watch from those presentations as well. So this really helps with training and end user adoption and really understanding how to use the system. All right, so now we've gone through, we've done all of our amortizations, we've done our allocations, we did our bank rec, we've gone through the period close checklist. Let's talk about some of the reporting that comes out of the box as well. So in this case, let's go ahead and take a look at our P&L. So I'll drill into my income statement. I can do that directly from my dashboard here. And this is NetSuite's reporting engine here. So as all reports in NetSuite, they're going to be completely drillable. So if I want to go from here and click into my revenue and drill that open into a detail report, that's going to open up the detail. And then from there, I can really click on, let's go ahead and open up an invoice. And with 2 clicks of a mouse, I'm able to go from a summary report to a detail report to the actual transaction that's feeding that report. So, you know your numbers and you know exactly where your numbers are coming from. So heading back into that income statement, it also becomes very easy to slice and dice. In this case, I'm looking at this broken out by this fiscal year, but maybe I want to look at this broken out by the different accounting periods that we've already closed. So I can go in here and select accounting period, refresh this report, and now I'm looking at a P&L broken out by my different periods that I have out there for the year. Or maybe we know that we just went through and did those allocations. We want to see that those expenses that we had broken out over the P&L. I can go in here and change that to my department classification. And when I refresh that now, I'd be able to go in there, look at that expense account and see that it was broken up, between professional services and administration and operations like we had on that allocation schedule. So slicing and dicing your data becomes very easy to do. There's lots of good filters that you can add very easily. You don't have to be a developer. So for instance, if you wanted to look at customer specific P&L, broken out by location, by department, kind of like we're doing now, it's very easy to do so. And you can add these pretty much on the fly pretty easily. All right, so that kind of concludes our automation of period close. Just as a quick summary, we went through allocation and amortization schedules, how we can use our reminders portlet to automate those journal entries or consolidate those journal entries at the end of the month. We looked at bank rec and saw how we can use our matching rules to automatically match, and we can pull in bank data automatically into NetSuite for you. So a lot of automation there. And then the period close checklist, which really helps lay out exactly which steps you need to take in order to close that period. And we finish it off by looking at NetSuite's advanced reporting tools, how it's a very drillable and customizable, and really you can slice and dice it any way you see fit. So you can really consolidate your financial reporting very easily with using NetSuite.